you probably use AI pretty much on a daily basis, right? I mean, these tools become almost indispensable to our everyday life. I run my multiple online businesses all by myself without any person, only AI. So I definitely rely on it. But in this video specifically, I want to focus on how AI can help us make better financial decisions potentially. So today I want to compare the three biggest AIs out there currently, at least, and the ones that I personally use myself, all three of them: ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. So I'm going to put them head to head, start with some easy questions. I'm going to ask the same question to all three of them, see which answer I like the most, and then we move to more difficult questions. And in the end, share with you which I would personally pick if I had to ask some financial related questions, which, by the way, I also do myself. But of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, purely for entertainment purposes. And while we always see these benchmarks that one model is getting better than the other, we had ChatGPT 4.5, now at 5, soon it will be 6, and so on. So obviously, they keep on evolving and getting better and better over time. Usually they do. But the question is also, how does it really translate to everyday life, right? It's great if the model can solve the most complicated math questions and medical problems. It's great. We love it. But what about everyday questions, especially for things that matter to us, like money, investing, everyday advice? And that's why I think it's important to put it to a test and see which one you resonate most with. Dive right in and start with ChatGPT. Now, in fact, I actually asked it to prepare some questions for me. Actually, some of them pretty good, but let's ask a simple questions ourselves. So let's go ahead over here. And usually what I do is voice to text. So click on the microphone over here and ask away. Please tell me the difference between accumulating ETF and distributing ETF. And that's one of the things why I like really ChatGPT the most, because it really is good in catching my text and transcribing it. So I can just send it off and see what it does. So obviously I'm going to go ahead, copy that, head over to Claude, paste the same question over here. And lastly, also to Gemini, the same, going to ask the question, enter, and let's see. Now, obviously, this is not about speed. Some are faster than others. Also depends on which model you're going for. But generally, they're all pretty much the same speed. Now, of course, I could change from 2.5 Flash to Pro. Pro is a bit more reasoning. It will be more detailed. But I want to have quick answers. The same with Claude. I'm using Sonnet 4.5 currently. Again, if I want a more elaborate answer, I could go for Opus 4.1. But I just want to have a quick answer. So here we have ChatGPT. Okay, here are the differences. Accumulating, compounding growth, better for long-term investors. Distributing, regular income, better for those who want cash flow. Tax treatment can vary depending on the country. Yeah, really not too bad. Straightforward. Obviously, I could ask a follow-up question if I wanted to, or explain it to me in simple terms. Obviously, it's a very vague question, but it was also a very quick question where I want a quick answer, right? So it makes sense that I get a fairly short answer. And also one thing to keep in mind, the more you use a certain LLM or AI, the more it gets to know you if you enable memories. I do enable memories, whoever has it available. In this case, with ChatGPT, as I used it the longest, it knows the most about me. I even prompted it the way I wanted to respond. You could prompt it a different way and get a different response, right? Depending on what you told it, how you wanted to respond, right? So that's also something to keep in mind, but I kind of keep it very generic over here. Going over to Claude, slightly longer, slightly more detailed, but I like how it says key consideration, obviously things like convenience, income needs, compounding. So it answers the question very quickly over here, the different ETFs, what they do, but then it goes into slightly more detail, which I quite like, to be honest, right? Again, without overwhelming you. And lastly, we have Gemini, which I started using more and more. One of the main features why I really love it, actually on the phone, I can just press my action button. There's one button where I set a shortcut and I can speak to it. And for example, if I want to set an appointment, I can just say, Gemini, schedule my appointment, and it will schedule it in my calendar, because obviously I use Gmail, I use Google Calendar, so they're all interconnected, and it can access all my workspace from Google, which is awesome, right? Now, technically, you could do the same if you gave permission to OpenAI and Claude, but somehow I don't feel comfortable. Anyways, Google already knows everything about me from Google side, so might as well use it. So I really like that. Another killer feature, when I go into Gemini and ask it, give me an overview of all the emails that I recently sent where I'm waiting a response and I still haven't received one. I just go through all my emails where I asked a question or sent an email asking for a response and haven't received one, and boom, I have all of them there. And then I ask it to prepare a draft, and then I use a draft and send it off just to have a follow-up. And that way I never miss an email, which is really, really cool and such a powerful thing. So again, different AIs have different use cases. Claude, for example, I'm using mostly for writing and coding. I absolutely love it. And then ChatGPT for everyday use case. Getting a little bit sidetracked, but that's just why I use different AIs at this stage. But yeah, if I go back into Gemini's answer, it also nicely breaks it down. Firstly, focusing on accumulating, what it's best for, then distributing, what it's best for. Actually, really nice, quick comparison. So I quite like that. Note on tax implication. And it even gives me a video over here from another fellow European YouTuber. Really cool. So honestly, in this case, it's probably the most complete answer. Now, again, it depends on your use case. Maybe you just wanted a very quick answer. Then in this case, ChatGPT may have been better for you. but I quite like that answer. And again, what Gemini does really well, very nicely show you all the sources. Now you could get the source for all of them, but it naturally embeds it into all the answers over here. All right, let's continue with the next question, a bit more difficult one, because here it kind of has to reason, right? So let's say I have an extra $5,000. Should I use it to pay down my high interest credit card, 16% interest per annum, or put it into the S&P 500? So let's see how ChatGPT answers to this question. And of course, let's go ahead, copy it over here to Claude as well, and finally Gemini as well. So let's see how each of them answers that question. In theory, pretty easy answer. If you ask me the question, I would right away tell you pay off your high interest debt, definitely. But let's see what those AIs are telling us. Paying off 16% debt gives you a 16% return, right? Because yes, by paying it off, you're basically not wasting that money anymore. So it makes sense. Good answer. Investing the money instead means you're effectively borrowing 16% to invest at an uncertain 7 to 10%, which is right? Because your stock market doesn't always return. It might also drop even further. So your $5,000 may become less, while if you paid it off, it would be guaranteed paid off. And even suggest you a balanced approach. You could put 90% towards debt repayment and 10% towards investing. Also smart thinking, actually, to be honest, just to get into the habit of investing even a small amount to not completely disregard that. So I like that answer. Again, short, to the point, but solid advice. Let's see what Claude is saying. Again, slightly longer answer. The math heavily favors debt repayment, so the same overall underlying message and recommendation. It goes a bit more into detail about the math behind it. It breaks it down also peace of mind, which goes a long way, right? It's also something we sometimes forget about. We just focus on the financials, but peace of mind, the same with owning a house, right? It may not always be the best investment, but it gives you a peace of mind that you have a place to live, right? So that's also something we need to keep in mind sometimes. Really nicely broken down, slightly more detail, more meat on the bone. Again, depends on how much you want, but I quite like that answer over here as well. And lastly, we go over to Gemini. And again, all three of them are pretty clear. On the way forward, pay down your debt first, which does make sense. It gives you a nice table overview. Also nicely says very clearly the S&P 500 returns are not guaranteed, which we sometimes forget, right? We always say returns 8 to 10%. This year has been absolutely phenomenal returns, even higher. But it doesn't always have to be. So that's nice. That really clearly highlights that here as well. And a nice recommended action plan. Use the 5,000 to pay off immediately. Once it's paid down, boom. So I like that again. So probably in this case, once again, I prefer mostly Gemini and Claude answers to that simple question. All right, with this, we go to an even more difficult question. And this is where I really want him to reason. So I ask it, give me your best argument for buying, selling, or holding Amazon stock right now. So it has to take current market information about the stock, and kind of put the pros and cons together to give me a sort of balanced opinion. Now, of course, I could go over here and select deep research or thinking, and it would take even more time. But in this case, I just want to use the everyday model that they choose automatically to give me the answer. So let's see what it comes up with. By the way, I'm on ChatGPT on the Plus plan, which is around $20 a month. On Claude, I'm actually on the Max plan, where I'm paying $100 a month. Yes, it's a lot, but I also use it a lot, again, for my various businesses, for copywriting, coding. I really like it very much. I'm always running out of credits, but yeah, $100 is a lot and may not make sense for everyone. Of course, all of them do have free plans available. And on Gemini, actually right now, I'm still on the free plan, but eventually I might actually decide to also upgrade to one of their pay plans. All right, so ChatGPT is still loading, very slow somehow. Seems to be on the lunch break right now. Very slow, sometimes how it writes the text. So let's jump over to Claude. Let's see what it came up with. It's still working as well, so it takes a bit of time. Obviously, it's a bit more resource intense, right? It kind of, as you can see, goes through the various websites and gets the latest information, what it is, and then based on that gives you an answer. So, okay, it's still working. Let's go back to Gemini. It has already something. So broken down into buy, sell, and hold arguments. So let's see what it says about buy. AWS infrastructure, analyst consensus overall, what they're saying, high margin advertising engine, retail efficiency, cash flow. Okay, so these are a couple of points, not particularly convincing at the first glance. Now, obviously, I could really deep dive, read into it, but yeah, pretty, sort of average answer for now. Hold argument, elevated capital expenditure. Then we have retail headwinds and competition, and sell arguments, failed AI execution, and regulatory scrutiny and special charges. Yeah, I don't know. The answer is not super satisfying. So let's go over to Claude, see what it came up with. The case for hold. So it just gives you a paragraph. It quotes one of the stock research platforms, and stock has strong post-earnings surge, but remains undervalued relative to target. Okay. The bullish factor, AWS just grew 20% year on year. Why hold rather than buy or sell if you already own long-term term, AI infrastructure build out could be transformational, but you're essentially betting on a payoff that's years away. Okay. Then it kind of concludes it. Hold if you believe in the 3 to 5 year AI transformation story. Sell if your near term returns worry about the margin compression. Buy only if you're very patient and believe the current valuation represents a discount on 2030 earnings. At least it gives you slightly better guidance in my eyes. So let's jump over to ChatGPT. I do like how ChatGPT uses these little icons because it kind of breaks things down. So arguments for buying, you see right away, strong growth platforms, profitability, analyst, enthusiasm, scale advantage, bottom line for buy if you believe. Really nicely, one section for the buy argument, which I quite like. The other ones for me were not really structured so well. Arguments of selling, obviously here different points. So bottom line, and then we have the arguments for holding, but then it says my verdict. Given the data, if I must pick one, which I actually didn't ask it to, I would lean towards holding. But with a nuance, that's by far, for me, the best answer. That's very satisfying. When I read this, I kind of get an objective view of it, but then also its own opinion in a way, right? If AI has opinions, I quite liked it. And I always like how ChatGPT asks you for more questions or suggests you further questions to think about, right? Maybe you don't come up with a follow-up question. Well, it often asks you to, and you just have to say yes or no or tweak it a bit. So I quite like that. And let's ask it one last question. If the market crashes 30%, what should I do? So that's a kind of vague question where it can really go many ways. Let's see where they will take me to. All right, let's start off with Claude, who finished actually the first. And overall, I must say, visually, I quite like it the least, to be honest, because it's all very text heavy, right? It has kind of subtitles, but that's about it. It doesn't really break it down. Gemini usually gives you some tables or sometimes throws in a video here and there. ChatGPT also has a nice way of using emojis and so on. Now, obviously, I could ask it to code it something and present it to me in a nicer way. It would do it, but purely text output, while it's nicely written, I like how it writes visually. Yeah, it's maybe not that attractive for me. Then, first of all, don't panic and probably do nothing. That's usually good advice. It gives you historic reality that always happens, which is true, right? Markets are cyclical. We have crashes all the time. That's normal. What you should actually do, keep contributing if you can. That's great because you buy more stocks at a lower price. So in a way, it works for you if you have a long-term investing horizon. Don't check your accounts obsessively. Yes, that's a big red flag, especially when you're down. People log in every day and see their losses. So that's really painful. So just don't open the app. Just sit it out and you'll be good to go over time. Absolutely don't sell in panic. When you should sell, the math, right? If the market drops 30% and you sell, you log in the 30% loss. If it then recovers 43% from the bottom, you've missed out entirely. Meanwhile, someone who held or bought more is back to even or ahead, which is a very good point as well. So the real question, if a 30% crash would make you want to sell everything, you might have too much in stocks for your actual risk tolerance. So that's also a very good point to consider. The time to adjust is now, before the crash, not during one. Okay, overall, nice answer. Let's jump over to Gemini. Do nothing to existing investments and look for opportunities to buy. Yeah, buy the dip. I like that. The single most destructive action investor can undertake during a crash is to panic sell. Do not panic sell. So they all say the same, which is nice to hear. Your 3-step game plan during a crash, review a financial foundation, a safety checklist, gives you kind of checklist over here, emergency fund, gives you some link where you can see what it is all about. Okay, what else we can do? Debt. Are you managing high interest debt, as we spoke about before? Number 2, stay the course in existing investments, discipline, long-term mindset, continue dollar cost average. I like that. Rebalance your portfolio. Same what we heard from Claude over there. Look for buying opportunities, focus on fundamentals. Yep, systematic buying. All right, that's good as well. And again, I like that they have this kind of nice table over here. You can export it to Sheets also. So that's a nice integration inside the Google ecosystem, of course. Near retirement, that's also important, right? If you're near retirement, maybe it's a little bit different. You might want to hold, maybe want to sell off a little bit. And then also has a follow-up question over here. Yeah, overall, not too bad. And lastly, we jump over to ChatGPT. Same point, keeps on repeating, do nothing if you're a long-term investor. That's also a good point. If you're a long-term investor, if you're a trader, obviously you might want to react. But if you're a long-term investor, that's the beauty of it, right? You don't have to panic there. Buy more if your finances allow it. That's also good. Not everybody should be buying more. If you're short of cash or if you're in a real recession, you might also lose your job. So if you lose your job, then obviously you may not be in a position to buy more shares. Rebalance, not react. Review, not panic sell. Strengthen your mindset. Short and to the point, but I quite like that. So here, to be honest, I like all 3 answers. So you see, overall, you get similar results from all 3 of them. They're not fundamentally different. Now, where it gets better and better, if it knows more about you. Usually I would also ask questions like, knowing what you know about me, what would you recommend to be my next investment? Because it already knows so much about me, right? It knows my portfolio, how I invest. So given my risk tolerance, it would suggest me one thing versus another thing, right? It would know that I'm not into bonds, so it wouldn't recommend me bonds. While if you talk about bonds, ask questions, maybe you already own some, it might recommend you to buy bonds. But I wouldn't want to ask that question here because it's not fair, since I'm not using Gemini that much and it doesn't have that much information about me. So it would give me quite different answers than, for example, ChatGPT that has way more information about me. Overall, I think all three models are great to use. Depends on what you prefer. If you're already in the Android ecosystem and you use a lot of Google, then I think Gemini makes sense. They've been really improving. In the beginning, they used to be so bad, I never used it. But in recent times, as I said, I see myself using it more and more. The deep integration with Google Workspace, it can check on all my email, it can schedule calendar events. I absolutely love that feature, which the other ones can technically do, but I don't want to give it permission at this stage at least. So for that, I use Gemini. For more text-based answers and coding, I still like Claude the most. That's why I'm paying $100 a month for the max plan. It is more concise generally, unless I tell it to be longer. It can be longer, of course. Again, it goes back to how you prompt it, right? If you don't like the answer or you want more emojis, I can also say to Claude, give me more emojis, and I would make that way. And lastly, of course, we move to ChatGPT, which is really my daily driver. That's the first app that I go to if I have any questions. I just pull up ChatGPT. I have speech to text, so I just speak to it. Not live speech, because I don't like to listen to the guy, because then I have a follow-up question, I interrupt him, so it's a bit annoying. So I prefer just to speak to it. Sometimes I speak to it for 15 minutes in the car while I'm driving. It transcribes it, and then I send it off. And then obviously the more content you feed it, the better your answers. Here in this case, we had very short and to the point questions, but of course you could really give it a very long context window, right? If you have a mortgage, you can tell it the interest rates, how long your mortgage is. You can even feed it the mortgage contract and say, based on that, should I be paying off my mortgage early or invest in the S&P? So you get a much more bespoke answer to your investment needs. And why I would never rely on any of those blindly, then critical thinking becomes ever more important. They are great starting points to answer your questions and give you some ideas of what you could be doing with your money and investments. Again, I use all three, but I'm interested to hear from you. Which is your favorite one that you use on a daily basis? Maybe it's another one, maybe it's Perplexity or even Mistral that we have here in Europe, right? Or DeepSeek, so many options out there. So yeah, let me know in the comments which is your favorite one. Next up, check out this video here. As always, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.